Welcome to another episode of Dexian Talks, an initiative by Dexian India. My name is Ranjini Rajashekar, your host for this session. Today we're delighted to host Mr. Anil Kumar, Managing Partner at Mindspan LLC, an investment and advisory firm that has supported nearly 100 early-stage ventures in software and services. A former senior partner and chairman of the Asia Center of McKinsey and Company, he is also the co-founder of Indian Business School of Business. He continues to mentor entrepreneurs through his work with Stanford Seed and the Indus Entrepreneurs. Welcoming Anil to Dexian Talks. Hello Anil. It's an absolute delight to have you as our guest today.
Thank you so much. I'm really pleased to be here. I'm also very excited to learn about Dexian Talks and the impact it's having and the followership that it has at the moment. And I hope that through this mechanism, we'll be able to do a lot.
Sure. It's our pleasure, Anil. Thank you. What does value creation really mean in the context of GCCs today? Cost saving, capability, or strategic transformation?
I believe it's all of them. So there is value creation by fundamentally being able to do things at a much lower cost.
Okay.
And that has always been the bedrock and the starting point to be able to do things offshore. And that's what I initially did when I started my first so-called GCC over 30 years ago.
Okay.
The second in capability building is once you get comfortable and familiar and the local team here builds a trust with the global ecosystem, then they get more and more into niche capability building.
Okay.
And finally, once they're able to do that and build connections and linkages and the skills required, then they move into innovation and new areas that are typically not pursued elsewhere.
Okay. So thank you for sharing this, Anil. It was pretty insightful. So what advice would you give to enterprises considering India as the most favored destination for GCCs?
Well, at the moment, India is a favored destination, and a lot of companies are looking and have seen India. But to be fair, if I look at things, if I'm a very large company, I may have to look at a global talent footprint that is India plus other places.
Okay.
And that's what some of the largest companies in the world have done.
Okay.
If I were a mid-sized company, any company with 5 to 25,000 employees, then I would look at India as possibly the most desirable of different options that are available.
Okay.
But there are always other considerations in picking a location. So I don't want to say India is the only one, but I would like to be able to say that it is the most desirable, largely because there's an ecosystem and infrastructure of being able to service and initiate and incorporate GCCs.
Okay. So you mentioned about the ecosystem. If you can just elaborate a bit about the ecosystem.
Oh, I'm a real old guy in in this area. I've literally 30 years ago, I know of companies that made a living out of being able to provide lunch for GCC employees. And they would have all this mobile catering going out and providing lunch. And they did extremely well because that was a requirement of the day then.
Okay.
Then you sort of reach the whole period of needing cabs. That's a very large part of the cost structure for GCCs. And there's a huge infrastructure for that in almost all the main cities for GCCs, but I would say between 10 and 20 cities have good cab infrastructure.
Okay.
That was sort of the next requirement and demand 20 years ago or so.
Okay.
Then COVID hit. and now you have additional requirements around safety, around access and security. So there's a whole ecosystem to be able to provide that. They can come in a heartbeat and be able to have every room and every door in a facility coded for that kind of thing. So it's not to say it's a unique ecosystem or infrastructure, but it's very quick and responsive.
Okay.
Try doing that somewhere in the West, it'll take you a long time.
Okay. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for sharing this, very, very nicely put, touching upon the various key aspects that are involved in running a GCC successfully. So thank you for that, Anil. So where do you think the next wave of GCC growth will come from? Is it going to come from two-tier cities? Is it going to come from specific domains or new operating models like the bot?
So I don't think growth is going to actually, BOT happens to be just one way of doing things, so I would not say that's suddenly going to be an engine of growth. Nor am I going to feel that tier 2 cities is where the growth is, because the volume is so much higher in the large tier 2 cities already.
Okay.
So I believe the growth actually comes from a different area, which is your first question, which is we began with the basic kind of work that's being done. Then you move to more capability building, and then you move to more innovation oriented work. So as companies, even the 2 million, 1.5 million, it's questionable what the full number of people at GCCs are.
Okay.
But as the people over there move from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and companies get more comfortable and familiar, I believe the growth will just come from what I call percolation. It's a percolation effect of going down that path.
Okay. Is it right to say that it is a step-by-step process, where one leads to the other?
Good question, actually. I believe some companies, most companies, do step by step.
Okay.
But some companies have immediately gone to step 1 plus 2, capability building. And because these are all about business processes.
Okay.
And frankly, if I ran a company with some 10,000 employees, I'd want to make sure everyone in India is highly trained on that particular business process.
Okay.
So that could be step 1 and step 2. Then you leave it to them to figure out how to innovate, because people are so hardworking, are so desirous of being able to contribute the most back to the headquarters and home office, that they go the extra mile to do step 3.
Okay, so then training is going to play a vital part.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that, Anil. So how should organizations prepare for the global talent shifts, hybrid models and rising AI adoption within their GCC operations?
My belief is that this will all come from the headquarters requirements, mostly. But if there are companies that have moved to step 3 to the innovation, then they will likely do some of the adoption of those new approaches on their own. Actually, in the past, they did that when they decided to do cloud deployment. That was something that there was a huge demand, and therefore there was a demand for very high bandwidth. So that's an example of an ecosystem that you don't have any idea how difficult it was 25 years ago to get the requisite bandwidth. Now, of course, it's taken for granted, right? So these things will come from the parent.
India has over 1,600 GCCs, employing more than 1.5 million professionals. So, what in your view differentiates successful GCCs that drive innovation from those that remain operational back offices?
Honestly, it's a culture.
Okay.
So there are 3 or 4 key elements. One,
Okay.
we've touched on training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on the teams in India, the employees in India to be willing and eager to learn.
Okay.
I would always test people and say, if you're eager to learn, will you go to a course every other Saturday for the next 6 months
Okay.
and use up your Saturday?
Okay.
So it was my way of being able to test, are they really learning oriented? Are they thirsty to learn? Are they do they feel like they are going to almost vocational training? So training and learning and development. Number 2 is the culture of the company.
Okay.
So I think the role of the people person in both India, if it's an Indian GCC, and home office,
Okay.
are very important. They should be joined at the hip. They should be talking 2-3 times a week.
Okay.
Some of the most successful companies actually have put their global HR head in India.
Okay.
They've actually put their global CFO in India.
Okay.
So it all depends, how this sort of amalgamation
Okay.
works between home office and India.
Okay.
So there are many elements like that, but I would say organization, culture, values, and learning and thirst for learning.
Okay. So you touched upon a very, very interesting aspect, which is culture. Yeah. And I also see organizations at times scrabbling to build the right culture. So what would your piece of advice be in that case?
It's a hard issue because on the one hand, I'm sort of deeply Indian in terms of my values. And you want to feel that, first of all, there is no universal good right culture.
Okay.
So every company has a different culture.
Yeah.
Number 2, should the Indian operation completely adopt the culture of the home office, or should they keep some of the elements of Indianness that are the best, so long as they're not in conflict with the culture of the home office?
Okay.
So I would say that would be the best approach.
Okay.
Embrace and adopt the home office culture totally, and layer onto it, add to it any Indianness culture that is compatible with the home office, but a value add, an additional aspect.
Okay. So in a sense, what you said, the amalgamation again, right?
Yeah.
Of bridging both the cultures and
Correct.
ensuring that there is a right tone for employees to follow.
Correct. So if your home office doesn't have as one of its top 10 culture aspects the the desire to work in teams and help your colleagues.
Yeah.
And it's a very Indian thing because India is more community and interdependent, less independent.
Okay.
Then the Indian operation can build that community sense into the culture.
Yeah. So in a sense, just adopting the best practices from both the worlds.
No.
Okay.
You have to adopt fully what is the home office.
Okay.
There is no question of saying, oh, home office has here 10 things, but I'm going to pick number 2, 6, and 8. Those are my definition of best practices.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying adopt all 1 to 10.
Okay.
On top of it, layer on, so long as it's compatible and consistent, aspects of Indian culture that reinforce or build on 1 to 10.
Okay. So what I gather is the importance of imbibing the culture of the parent is vital here.
Super.
Right? Yeah.
And the less you do of that, the more likely you are to going to fail.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Anil, and pretty insightful. And I love the way you explained the whole thing with a lot of, examples of what happens in the parent company and what happens here, and the culture that we have and we follow as Indians, and what we need to be doing about it. So, thank you. You've advised and invested in early stage ventures across softwares and services. So, do you think startups and GCCs can coexist symbiotically, with GCCs learning agility and startups learning scale?
I don't think it's a natural marriage made in heaven. I don't see that something that needs to be combined or looked at together. The startup ecosystem and startup priorities are so very different
Okay.
from GCC one.
Okay.
I mean, that's not to say there won't be GCC leaders in the future who go and start their own companies. That is a prerogative of any human being.
Okay.
But the requirements and thought process to be a successful startup leader are quite different to running a watertight, totally fail-proof business process operation.
Okay. Thank you, Anil. Thank you for sharing your views on this. If a global CEO came to you today asking, should we set up our GCC in India? Okay. What would be your top 3 factors that you would ensure that he's looking out for?
I would make sure, and that's partly why the whole approach that Dexian is taking is important. I'd ensure that many different elements of setting up and running a GCC are in place and through third parties.
Okay.
So that because a global CEO is unlikely to know all the fine points and the nuances of being operating in India.
Okay.
So that would be one very important consideration.
Okay.
The second is I would try and make sure that there are some key process leaders from home office would be willing to move to India and live here for 1 year, 2 years, extended period of time, and be the translator, if you will, of what's happening here back to home office.
Okay.
And also the home office issues. There'll always initially be some friction.
Okay.
So someone has to smooth that out.
Okay.
And they shouldn't set it up without that approach.
Okay.
And the third is to be patient and committed. If I'm a CEO, I shouldn't be looking for returns or results, or looking just at the bottom line in 6 months.
Okay.
I should be looking for the real impact that I'm going to have back in the entire global network of operations I have as a CEO.
Okay.
Of what innovation or additional capabilities people can draw on or lean on out of India.
Okay. So what I'm gathering from this is, it's not about setting up the GCC. It's about setting up the GCC and ensuring there's a gradual transition that is happening. And, it's important that the CEO is also, having the required ammunition to, take this forward, and which requires a very, very powerful strategic thought process.
It's a committed and dedicated thought process.
Okay.
And it's a very determined one.
Okay.
The CEO, for example, another caution I'd give them is not to invest in capital in India, not to go and build a big building. Initially,
Okay.
they need to just get comfortable. It's the softer organizational things that will either make or break it.
Okay.
And if it's going to get broken for whatever reason, you don't want to say, I've got a $10 million building in India. You
Okay.
want to deal with the organizational aspect first.
Okay.
I had a friend slash client who's a mid-sized company. I talked to them about India and the GCC.
Okay.
And then they said, we can't do it because we are going to Eastern Europe.
Okay.
And the reason is our number one criteria is who's going to run it. And we have someone from Eastern Europe on our team who's trusted, respected, and who we are going to build the whole center around that person.
Okay.
So that's how important the organizational aspect is.
Okay.
And for us to, I would advise any GCC or any CEO or this side in India that unless there is really tight integration with the parent company through the leadership, it's going to be a hard road.
Okay. So, you're here again stressing on the need for integration with the parent, right? So, which I'm, sensing is paramount when it comes to setting up the GCC.
Yeah, I moved to India a long time ago, whatever it was. And before I'd moved, it turns out a friend of mine who was one of the most senior people at American Express had already set up the Amex operation in India. So he probably did it 35 years ago.
Okay.
But the reason it worked is he was Indian, he was from headquarters, highly respected, he was one of their top 5 people, and he took it on to make sure that it's going to work.
Okay.
So there are different models. I mean, you could have a sponsor who's totally committed, and they will likely actually send some of their key hench people, the key left hand, right hand people to India to make it work.
Okay. Yeah, so establishing that credibility is equally important. Thank you. Thank you, Anil, for that. So you've led at the highest levels, McKinsey, Mindspan, and as a co-founder of ISB. What leadership qualities do you believe define great institutions? And how do you personally cultivate them?
I think humility, compassion, and a sense of being selfless.
Beautiful.
Those are the most important.
Thank you. So in a sense, the values one carries plays such an important role, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So your LinkedIn tagline reads, thinker, teacher, doer. And that is a lot. So if you had to choose one of these roles that defines you most deeply, what would that be and why?
Honestly, it's unfortunately a slightly selfish answer, but I enjoy thinking the most.
Interesting.
I really, the reason I put all 3 is because I enjoy all 3. But if you forced me, and if my family had to tell you, they would say I enjoy just thinking a lot. And at times I wonder if I should have been an academic, so.
Okay. So you're a thinker.
Yeah.
I think it's so valuable today because we get caught up in the rut of doing things. We hardly think. People hardly get time to think. And here you are, a thinker. So very inspiring. So you've built organizations, nurtured leaders, invested ideas that shape the future. So when you look back, what kind of legacy you want to represent when it comes to impact, innovation, or inspiration?
So first of all, I personally don't believe in legacies. I actually also don't believe I believe that a year after you're gone and you've passed away, pretty much 99% of your footprint on earth has gone.
Okay.
So, and not to say I can't go and name something after me and feel that that's some grand legacy. That's kind of not how I am.
Okay.
So if I look at what is the lasting impact, it's lasting impact but not legacy.
Okay.
It would be through education.
Okay.
I would argue that the ISV has had more lasting impact, and maybe when I look at mentoring, coaching, all of those things that are part of my life,
Okay.
but they're all actually part of education.
Okay.
When I mentor someone, when I coach someone, I'm actually educating them
Okay.
to look at things differently. I'm
Okay.
not forcing them to do X or Y.
Okay.
I'm just through questions, through the way we interact, I just want them to look at the world a little differently.
Okay.
Based on not just my personal experiences,
Okay.
but based on my experiences plus my thinking.
Okay. Now that's a very powerful thought, the impact of education. And as an L&D professional, learning and development professional, I resonate with that thought. It's pretty powerful. Thank you. Thank you for that, Anil. So in Dexian, we believe we are in the business for good. And it was a lovely conversation, Anil, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Ranjini, and I've enjoyed it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. It's our pleasure.
We are Dexian, in the business for good.